guys, welcome back to Fiona's Universe, or welcome if you're new. If you are new here, then hello. I'm Fiona and I've written many books. I feel like that intro is getting kind of old already, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Anyway, today's video is going to be all about writing exercises that I came up with to help you guys improve your writing, your books, your enjoyment of writing, finished projects, and even a few ones at the end that are just purely for fun. I have finished 11 projects in my day. I'm 20 years old, and the main way that I did that was through staying immersed in my projects, and that is something I will say time and time again in writing tips videos and when people ask for advice, is to stay immersed, stay passionate, and the work will do itself essentially, because you cannot not do it. So on that note, these things hopefully will help you to, get re-immersed in your project or just get super immersed in your world, your project, and your characters. So here are some of these writing exercises, activities, and just little fun things to try for you guys. Stupid string. Oh, that was graceful, jeez. Also, if you are interested, I'm currently working on my debut dystopian romance novel, and it is a part of a trilogy, and I would love if you stuck around to see updates on that and also just get some more writing tips as well. So, if you like me, shameless plug, there's a subscribe button down there, and a like button, and a notification bell, and a comment section. Chat with me. I always respond to comments. I love you guys. I've got some tea updates coming though when it comes to publishing, so that's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, let's get into these activities. So, like I said, a lot of these ones at the beginning are gonna be very much like writing advice to make your books better, to make your process easier, more enjoyable, and then a couple at the end that are gonna be mostly just for funsies. But they should also help you get to know your characters and your world more, I'd say. Alright, so the very first one is actually not my idea at all. It just circulates on authortube, and it's to plot on your wall. Actually, something I've done, guys. There's a video of it on the channel. It's for a project that I don't plan on revisiting. It's called Project Princess. I tried to flip the camera and show you guys because it's on the wall right behind you, but it just messed up my camera angle and the ring light was not letting me show you, so just trust me, it's up on my wall. This is just really fun to do. I love to decorate my walls. Clearly, I don't like empty space. Plus, even if you don't like the clutter, you can always take it down, and it just might be helpful to take pictures of it. And I sorted mine by the first 10-ish chapters in depth, sort of, just with bullet points, and then I did Act 2, and then I did Act 3, and then in the middle I just put some brainstorm points that didn't really have a place yet. But it was really fun. If I did it again, I would probably do it similarly, just because I really like to have my first 10 chapters or opening of the book really solid. But you could also go chapter by chapter. You could just do world building, characters, plot all separate. It's just so much fun, and to see all of your ideas visually laid out in front of you, so cool. Plus, I've been seeing some other tubers do it on a whiteboard. That's another great one. I feel like a sort of bonus one that goes alongside this idea is just to have really intentional brainstorm sessions once in a while, because whether you're plotting it up on your wall or just on paper, whatever you might want to do, it is fun to have those really immersive experiences where you spend a lot of dedicated time towards thinking about your projects. But moving on, I have thesaurus books, and guys, when I tell you, I was so excited because you can get these on Amazon and you can also put them on your Kindle. I will link the ones down below that I have, and they're so cool. I'm gonna pull them up so I can kind of show you. So the ones that I found, they're actually, I think I found them from Amelia is Writing, that's her channel name, on authortube. Check her out. And there's the emotion thesaurus, and then there's the emotional wound thesaurus, and I think the author has a couple other ones as well. I could be wrong. Plus there's so many other thesaurus type books and craft books you guys can explore. These two are just ones that I would recommend. Essentially, I can't find a specific page to show you guys, but they have a feeling, and then they have a bunch of info about that feeling. There's essentially a list of physical signs of that emotion, and then descriptions. And for the emotional wound one, it's a lot of psychology involved in it as well, so those can be really helpful. You can also find Pinterest pins with a lot of that kind of thing. And yes, you should go buy the books for sure, but if you don't have the money to, you can definitely see if you can borrow them from a library, or also you can just search on Pinterest and do some research on that kind of thing, because it can be really, really fun. I haven't actually read very much of these two books, but I have been yearning after them. So I just actually found them yesterday. I feel like they were going to be really hard to find in Canada, but they weren't. Next is one that I raved about in some of my writing vlogs, and you guys have seen me do it live, sort of, and I would also just recommend doing it to exercise your writing muscles, but it is to go on to your favorite, like, image searching site. Mine is Pinterest, or you can just use Google, but Pinterest for me because I have boards on there for each of my projects, and I choose a pin, whether it be for a new setting, a new character. I look at it, and then what I would recommend to you guys is get a good vibe of that picture, and then write a list of what you see in very blunt language, you know, like maybe it's a greenhouse and you see green glass walls, you see plants, you see this, that. Maybe also think about what it would smell like, what the air would taste like, you know, what you're hearing. Maybe you hear some birds outside. Anyway, after you have your list, you can turn that into a beautiful paragraph or scene, including other things that happen, maybe some dialogue, and kind of weaving those elements in that you feel are necessary to create the least info dumpy setting description or character description ever. I don't really know what to name this strategy. I'm just gonna call it something like Pinterest exercise. I don't know, but I do this so much, guys. Like, if I want to write about a log cabin, I search log cabin on Pinterest, and then I describe what I'm seeing. I also come up with my own ideas as well, like for maybe a cat's in the cabin or whatever. This is hypothetical, but I also just cannot rave about this tip enough to you guys, especially because I kind of don't like writing setting. Character descriptions I'm a little bit more cool with, but me and setting, I think I write really good settings, but at first when I was younger, a little bit tend to info dump, you know, like walked into the greenhouse, describe every single element of the greenhouse, you know what I mean? So this strategy works really, really well. Plus, you can get some really cool ideas from Pinterest, of course. Which does remind me, I recently posted an updated version of my websites and apps for writers, so make sure to watch that because you can find a lot more fun writing tools, exercises, activities to do through those websites as well. Or if you don't want to sit through a whole full-length video of me going in depth on each one, you can also just look at the community tab post I made, or over on my writing Instagram account. They're the same posts, and it just outlines some of the world building ones. I am working on the characterization and other ones, but right now the world building stuff is up for you guys to go see. Next is super simple, and it is one that I think is pretty essential if you're a writer, and if you're not doing this, definitely start doing it, however works best for you. But for me, that is creating a note in your notes app for general writing stuff or for each of your projects. For me, I actually do both. I have my random writing inspo one, and then I have my dedicated project ones. So whether I get an idea in the middle of the night and I jump onto the project / one, or if I just come up with a poetic quote in my head and I go into my poetic quotes of late note, or even I write in my notebook sometimes, and that's another really good one. You can keep a notebook beside your bed, on your desk, or even just like sticky notes. I don't know, but I think you should always write down every single idea. And there are so many times throughout my days where I'll be like, oh, I'll remember that idea later. Guess what? I don't remember it. So if you're able, definitely write everything down once it comes into your brain, and just, you know, even if it doesn't seem like something you want to pursue, it's always good to have it written down and have a kind of record of all your brainstorm and ideas, and it can be literally about anything. So I would highly recommend dedicating a space to that, whether it be on your phone or on paper. The next one is to become a method writer, and I've talked about this a few times I think, but this one is so fun. And hear me out, if you know what method writing is, you might be jumping to some conclusions right now, but I'm not suggesting you do anything against the law, and I'm not suggesting you do anything horrible, because I know sometimes our characters, because they are fictional, can do things like that. For example, my character June, I can't do a lot of the things that she does. But if you don't know what method writing is, it's essentially like experiencing and trying and living through some of the things that go on in your books, whether it's like something your character does, etc. From my perspective, this could be something as simple as like paying closer attention when you're braiding your hair, or something very simple like that. Even just when you're outside in a certain common place like a grocery store, you could outside in a grocery store, you could just, gather some thoughts on that to add to your writing later. Or it could be more intentional and trying things you maybe have never tried before because your characters do these things. A few quick examples I came up with here are, maybe if you don't usually paint and one of your characters is a painter, try painting. Or similarly, you can cook something that they really like to eat. Or maybe if you're just not much of a cook yourself, you can try that, or baking as well. You can also do some other things such as, fencing, or go to like some sort of place where you can practice aim and stuff. And I think that would be so fun. That's like one of my kind of author vibes, dreams, whatever, is to go and like try some of the skills June does in the Guard. Obviously not like really bad things, but just like trying out some of the tools she uses. And I'm using the word tools very wisely. And obviously it would be like on targets on the wall, okay? And I want to try that because I know I would be awful at it, and I know it'd be funny because June is very, very good at it. And similarly, just like sports, or like, if they're a boxer, maybe they take ballet classes. It will help your writing if you know what you're talking about. And yes, you can do research, but I think physical, actual research is also really, really valuable. Even if it's even if that's just like, maybe you have a trip to New York City planned and you are very intentional while you're there about keeping notes on stuff that you might want to add in a book one day. I need to stop talking. Once again, I talk about five senses a lot, and for example, if you're trying a new food, or maybe just retrying a new food, like even June's favorite food is peanut butter, so next time I eat peanut butter, I'm gonna pay attention to what I like most about it, and a lot of the sensations that can come with something like going on a trip, being on an airplane. My worst fear. Stuff like that. Does that make sense, guys? I hope that makes sense. It can be so very simple, or it can be much more elaborate that you have to like plan and stuff, like going horseback riding. That's a big one for me. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I don't actually have that planned. Not even a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, up next, these are some of the more fun, definitely get to know your characters ones, but more like not actually writing anything down. You can write it down if you want to. I'm not gonna say that. They're almost like games. I don't know, but you can do an activity that is something similar to like what is in your character's bag. What would be in your main character's bag, your side character, can be any person, maybe all of them. And I actually think I heard this from Brielle Wrights on YouTube here. I think she does this. I could be wrong. It might be someone else, but you can like think about, in their world, in their life, what would they keep with them in their backpack for school, or in their purse, and maybe even just in their pockets. I think that's a really cool activity. For example, June carries around this crocheted sweater that Quilla made for her night duty shifts, and she carries around a sheath of like tools, and maybe they carry gum, and maybe they carry like, I don't know, a bottle of water. But some of these like contextual clues that might suggest what they do in their day-to-day life that makes them different from another character. I think it's also just a lot of fun to picture stuff like that, personally. This one's like a little bit more just like, do it if you're bored and you need something to do, but you can also include it in the book if you want. And it's to picture or make a Pinterest board for what would be in their closet, or what their closet or dresser or whatever would even look like. Maybe what jewelry they would have, maybe what sort of color palette they wear, winter, summer, etc. Because I know if I did that for Lord, it would be so much fun. Or even Moth, doing it for Moth. She's one of my side characters. She has such a cool fashion sense, and so does Navy. She literally works in like textiles and fashion, and so I actually really want to do that now, just for funsies. Next, this one just kind of resonates with me. It might resonate with some of you too, because I am in university, and so I think it would be really cool to picture if your characters were in school, maybe some of them are, or like in college, university, whatever, what would they be majoring in, Or on like a sort of more simple note, what's their favorite subject in school? I would need to think long and hard about what June's major in school would be. I have no idea. I would like to think Laura's would be political science or something of the like, but I actually have a part in Beyond where I had to give certain characters majors, and almost all of them honestly because they fit into a cadre, but those aren't really majors, they're more just like jobs. But literally in a university and Beyond, I gave these characters these very intentional majors, and it was so fun, and it's very symbolic in the book as well, so I can't wait for you guys to read that. But anyway, I think it could be so fun to just, you know, honestly understand them on a different level, even if it's not going in the book, obviously. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, and they studied this or they're studying this. It's just more of like a understanding them better. How many times do I have to repeat myself? Last but not least, I personally love goal setting, so this one kind of isn't just like a just for fun one, but the activity itself, in my opinion, is, and it's to create a bingo card for yourself for your writing goals or for your book or for, you know, anything related to something that might help you out. But I feel like it could be so fun to like make a physical or digital bingo card that you can cross out when you accomplish one of those things. You know, some really big ones like, you know, get an agent, or, you know, send 5 query letters, or, you know, write 5,000 words. Then you can check those off and have some accomplishments on your journey and see it. I love that kind of thing. I'm obsessed with that kind of thing. If you're not as much into the design element or like the artistic element of like making a bingo card, I get it. This other one is also really good, and it is my last one for this video, and I have done it before. I do need to revise it though because my publishing plans have shifted. It's essentially to create a rewards tracker, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, but you can do it at any stage of the writing process. For example, if you're writing draft 1, or in my case, I did it when I was revising and trying to self-publish. I'm not trying to self-publish at present, but I was at this time. And so some examples of a goal and then a prize are to complete my first pass of revisions. I was gonna order myself clothes. So you basically equate like a goal, however big or small, with a prize that you might not regularly just go out of your way to get yourself. For example, I have create interiors for the book and format it. Go out for dinner is the prize. So that's really fun, and I think it can be a fun little way to motivate yourself and track your goals at the same time. Another one that I had was to complete the official playlist for the book and like post it, and I was gonna buy myself a scratch ticket. So anyway, you can also make like bigger prizes for bigger goals, if that makes sense. So for example, when I was initially going to finish writing above draft 1, I was gonna get myself a new tattoo. So anyway, technically, could you do any of these things for yourself before you hit the goal? Yeah, makes it way more fun if you do it like this. It can literally be anything as simple as like a sweet treat, or like, you know, a new lip gloss. That's a good one because it's small. But anyway, something you wouldn't normally treat yourself to all the time. You probably do treat yourself to those things. I do. I certainly do. But like, this is more intentional, if that makes sense. Anyway, guys, I love you so much. Thank you for watching this video about writing exercises and activities. I had so much fun with this. I wasn't actually gonna film today because I got all ready to film, and then I started to feel kind of demotivated, and then I looked at my ideas for videos, sit-down videos, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And then I saw this one, and I was like, I have to do that. I have to get these people on board with these fun activities. So, also, sorry I called you these people. My best friends. My viewers. I love so much. Sorry I'm kind of hyper as well. Sorry. Anyway, I'm so happy that you guys are here, and I really am so grateful for your support, and I can't wait to hear if you try any of these things, if you've already tried any of these things, and what you think of them. So make sure to let me know that in the comments. You can also just tell me anything. Tell me about your day. Tell me about your writing. I don't care. I love to hear it all. And I will respond to you because I respond to everyone. I love you guys so much, and happy writing!